Today we'll be learning how to play apartments. So when you want to molly apartments, you can molly apartments like this. If you do not understand how I'm doing that, let me explain it to you. So you see this shadow, we're running along this shadow, and the first separation in the floor you see, that is when we are jumping. So align yourself like this and aim over here and run over here and just jump through when you meet the alignment. This will molotov this perfectly. So when you're running off second mid, now you have to be very aware of a mid push. The reason being, nowadays a lot of smokes are being thrown and cities are getting very aggressive. Some other things which cities can do is simply like they can have an AWPer hold the left side and the right side rifler can just molly, hold this for a while to see if someone is pushing and then just come up over here. Now this is an off angle you need to be prepared for because the AWPer is guarding him. So be extra careful when you're going up mid. So make sure you're mollying this so no one is picking you from there. And then you want to clear all these angles very diligently. So get on top of here and then you can just jump to apartments. Now reaching over here, you don't want to get carried away. You want to wait for your team to approach from the other areas and only then push and commit together so that if anything bad happens, everything can be traded. Let's move on to some tips if you're playing alone on apartments. So let's say you're just here alone lurking, you're trying to create space for your team and cut off rotations. So you have heard and are quite sure that there is a guy in pit, and usually these guys just smoke this off and pick the right side. So if you come over here, aim a little bit right and a little bit down, and you walk forward and go left and get stuck in that corner, and you tap your D key twice, like the right movement key. So let me just show you once and twice. You'll be directly in line with contact over here with the pit guy who is holding that very like sharp angle. Now you might think like this is too complicated, but it isn't. Let me just demonstrate you. So let's just say you smoke like this. You just come over here and you tap your D key twice and then you just shoot. The thing is, some of the keyboards might be different. Some even might be like pressure centric. So you want to practice this in offline mode. It might seem complicated like from the outside, but once you're doing it in the practice mode, you'll realize how consistent this is. And make sure you just come up in this corner and don't do this. Don't hold your D key. Tap your D key twice and then you'll be in line. You want to try this in practice mode, so do go in your practice mode and try out like what is working the best for you. But it is quite consistent and you can use it to get a lot of advantage. Some utility which all people from Palace should know. One, this is the lurk smoke. So you come over here, get stuck over here, and then you want to aim in this corner. Even if you're aiming a little bit here and there, the smoke will be right, but try to aim in that corner so that you know like your smokes are consistent, right? You want your smokes to be consistent. You want to know every inch and out of that smoke, so you know like from which angles you are more vulnerable and from which angles you are less vulnerable. So examine the smoke, like what angles it is exposing you to more, and the smokes are a little bit dynamic, so be aware about that as well. If you want to molly pit, just aim over here and then come over here and throw. But what most people forget is that this area is going to be smoked, so you just can't just simply line up, right? So there's a simple way to throw this molotov even then. So you see this railing, come a little bit left from here, and you'll always be able to see the upper part of this area. So just aim a little right and come down and then just do a left click throw. So even if you're smoked, you can throw a molly over here. Moving on, the combination should look like this. So you just come over here, throw your smoke, and let's say they have thrown their own smoke. You can always nade this. Like if you have to commit and you want to get a peek. So also you must know this flashbang. So just aim over here and left click throw. This blinds the pit guy completely. And let's say if your team is deciding to come with you from shot, it's going to be a very good flash for them. One more thing, if you want to smoke Moto, you want to be here in this corner. You want to look for this window, aim at the left side, walk a little bit forward and just left click throw. It's not that complicated and it will land 100% of the time. It's quite simple and this can be very powerful in some time. Especially in like a retake round when you are abs and you want to help your team. Some more things you should be aware about. People usually throw this flash if their team is committing from A shot as well. So if your team is committing from here, you see this flash is not blinding your team, but this will blind the person who is holding this angle. So these guys have to turn to avoid being blinded, right? So it creates kind of a good timing for your team. So you want to be sure you throw this flash, but again you run into the same problem. Even let's say you threw your lurk smoke, but now you can't see. So again you want to have these lineups. So come a little bit down, aim a little bit left from here. This chimney you see, I hope it's a chimney, and then you come down. Align them together and a simple left click throw. This flashbang is even better than the previous one because it's dropping very narrow and your team is very less likely to get blinded by it. So let's say this guy has to turn, this guy has to turn, and the guy playing over here also has to turn. And your team can wrap up short. You see? It's very less likely for your team to get blinded. Next up, this guy. Now, in order to eliminate this guy, it would be really good if your team can throw you this flashbang, which almost blinds everyone in the site. So aim a little bit left and just jump click throw. And if you look over here, this guy is still completely blind. So let's say there is a smoke like this, you have mollied this area, and then you're throwing that flashbang. Just look at this guy, completely blind. And it's a very powerful flashbang because none of these guys can trade you because they're all blind. Let me show you. So let's assume I'm here. So I'm blind, no reaction time. I cannot react to that flash. Same, any guy over here is blind as well. Any guy holding even inside will be blind as well. We already know about this. Anyone holding sight. Now this guy might be able to trade you, and even that guy is blind. Even the pit guy is blind. So you can slowly clear the top balcony angle with this flash. It's quite useful, but it doesn't affect the guys in deep. So be mindful of that. One more thing, you can wallbang this angle when your team is huddling up to push mid and like push short or outside. So eliminating one angle so that they can just molly down, and it creates some help for your team to like push through. When you're lurking in A site apartments, usually you want to stop rotation. You want to make them waste as much as time, and also maybe you get a kill or you flank them. So you can throw this smoke, just left click, be stuck to the behind wall and left click anywhere around this line. It doesn't have to be perfect. So you see this smoke, but the problem with this smoke is that there is a gap, and the person who is playing arch side, like he does not think like you're gonna go there because there's a gap. He's assuming that you're clearing all this angle, so he's informing his teammate, right? So let's throw this. But what you can do instead is you can just clear these angles and lurk up in the smoke and get a cheeky angle on him. And if you don't get an angle on him, he has probably communicated to the teammate that he might be shot, and if the teammate doesn't see you shot, then most likely what they're looking for you in apartments. So you really outsmarted them, right? After that, you can just camp over here and listen for sound. Make sure you're watching for pushes. And if you hear them rotate, you can actually try to get a kill on them. Or even you can try to flank them. So this is what your job is technically when you're just lurking up there. So you're trying to delay rotations. One more thing regarding peeking. Do not peek from front of here because your head gets exposed way too much and you become a very easy target. So you want to approach these angles in a way that it is very hard to kill you. Let's say you clear all these angles and you want to approach pit. So make sure you're stuck to the behind wall and you're crouching and then standing up. So you do all these things. And make sure you're not just standing in the middle, right? You want to eliminate one side. And then you want to go to the right side. and you're eliminating the left angle. If you're in front, this guy who is running away from the molly has a higher chance of killing you. But if you're behind, you become such a hard target to kill. Some more new angles which you should be aware of is this one. I mean, it's an old angle, but what most people do is they'll just come over here and try to like stand very close to the wall to pre-fire them. Do not do this because it is kind of disadvantageous for you. What you want to do is swing a little bit more wide like this. So you want to do that, then you become a harder target to hit. There's this another angle over here which I play a lot and catch a lot of people off guard. So if I just stand like this, I can see people. So you want to be aware about this angle. So when you're behind, you're clearing pit, you should also be aware about this angle. So these are some general tips which are going to help you become a better apartment player. Also help you with your lurk or help your team with some utility. I'm going to make some more videos regarding team strats. So like you have a more comprehensive video. But this is an individual analysis of the video. So I hope you enjoyed and you learned some new things. Subscribe and watch out for more.